Live, yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, we are not in great condition today. Both of us are having sort of flare ups. So, we're going to be a little short today. I don't think we're going to go for a very long time, but I feel like that's the point of this, right? To just take
Yes,
care of
it's about being
ourselves.
real.
So, yeah, when you get rough times or smoke where I live in fire country essentially. We got a few smokes early, so always a joy.
Yeah, we've got summer's suddenly hit where we are now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's great, but the weather changes and like pollen count and set my hay fever off, and I think that's led to migraines, and I've had my own headaches this week. It's a point
Yeah.
where
It's interesting what can impact your headaches. Because, like, I don't know, for me, spring is not great. And then to have smoke on top of us going straight from like winter to summer, we didn't have really spring.
that's
It's
exactly what
just
we've had
weird.
here.
So I don't know, whatever. I'm just rolling with it like I do every year.
Yeah, I'm like I'm just like saying we've obviously spoken about the fact that I've had a real bad week of flare really badly. So we've now discovered that like an old injury has been playing up, so my elbow has been swollen, and that's meant that my hand and my wrist have been painful. So like I have even struggled to hold a drink bottle. And I bought a wristlet only to get told yesterday by one of my colleagues at work, why the hell are you wearing that? It is not tight enough on your wrist, because I've got two tiny wrists. So even the smallest one is too small. It's too big.
No.
So they're not sure. Like I've got to speak to the pharmacy after payday and try and work out what we can do to support that. And when I spoke to the pharmacist about 2 weeks ago after our last live, they went, well, all your joints are playing up because it's perimenopause and the hormones are what's killing. So I've got like locked shoulders, locked arms, my knees, both of them, hips even have just been uncomfortable, and it's just been so it's led to total chronic fatigue now. I'm just at the point where by about this time of the day, even at 7 o'clock, like yesterday, by 8 o'clock, I was like literally closing my eyes. I was even having to close my eyes at lunchtime yesterday, which is not like me.
Oh yeah. Yesterday I was ready to leave work at 3. I was like, I work till 5:30, so I was ready to leave work at 3 and just go home and hide in the dark. But
And
I was the last person scheduled, so I cannot leave. Otherwise, there's not going to be enough people there for children and like ratio based and everything. So I was not allowed to leave, even though, I mean, if I had probably begged off, I might have been able to. But I was like, I can tough it up for 2 hours and then go home and hide in the
my
dark.
boss was like, I had one of the bosses say to me, "Well, I was like nearly passing out because where my hearing nerve and balance nerve has been cut. And I think it was my blood pressure or the pressure in my ears was so bad that I was nearly passing out. So I was like literally clinging onto the desk at one point and blinking to try and keep my eyes open. And my boss went, well, you can't go home. There's not enough staff. And I went, oh, I don't tend to go home. If I pass out on the floor, just leave me there. And then I had the same thing 2 weeks ago with the boss. My colleagues was like, well, you can't go home. There's not enough staff. Like, I'm struggling here. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
tempted there is like, we're getting to the point where if this flare carries on, I may have to get signed off, because I'm just at the point where I'm going, do you know what? I can't even, my voluntary job, I'm like saying, can I leave early? And she lets me leave early if I'm tired, but you can't ask your paid
Yeah.
job, well, can I just leave early? Because I'm struggling.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, I
And
work
then,
at a job that's ratio based. So, like, if I'm not there, we might not be able to have a certain amount of kids there. So, if I'm the last one there, like, that's in order for other people to leave on time. And I know I probably could have, but I was just like, I'll just tough it up for 2 hours and
it's like,
make
that's the thing
do.
with this readathon, isn't it? We're being honest and we're being real about how we are, and we're both going, it's struggling to be worked, and being chronic pain sufferers, whatever bit of us, we're going, we're knackered. Like, I've had Mia's birthday this week, and it's used up all my social spoons. So like my social spoons have been, and then after going live, it was great. Like did premiered my live and premiered my
Yeah.
story, and it was a great, and like I said, Naomi, I hope you enjoy it. But it's a great
Mm-hmm.
video. But when it went out, all of the emotions that I felt when I was filming it were back, and I had so much positive feedback. You guys have been absolutely, everyone have been amazing. But I was like broken afterwards. Even my other half went, I didn't know how bad things have been. I went, well, I don't want to moan.
Yeah.
Whereas some people at work go, well, all you do is moan. I'm like,
Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so
that's
Ange
right.
is here. Hello, Ange.
And she's brilliant. She's one of my best friends. I couldn't have done it without her this week.
Yeah. Sometimes a friend can really get you through.
Yes,
They really
Friends
can.
of Booktube is amazing. This is Readathon is doing us the world of good, isn't it?
I am so relaxed with my reading choices. It is wonderful. Like
It's lovely.
it is just like, oh, I can make that work.
Yeah, you can. That's what's great about the Readathon.
Yeah.
We made it so you can make things work.
Oh yeah. I read a book that I was reading with my cousin, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is perfect for the readathon. Never planned it, but it's just so perfect.
What's
It's
that?
it's a Pride and Prejudice retelling called Unmarriageable.
Oh.
And it's in Pakistan, and there's a character who's chronically ill, the Anne de Burgh character, but like chronically ill and not diagnosed. I think it's like an autoimmune disease. And then you have depression representation in here, and it's just so interesting. And like women who, like a woman who can't have a children, so like there's another kind of invisible disease or illness. So it's just really cool. And I was like, this is such a great thing, and I never expected it, and I can totally put it on TBR or like the reading list, even though I never planned for that to be part of it. And it was great. It was fun.
That's brilliant. I must admit, Thomas has picked me, I've got a book for next week, which is for the cheering up, the comfort read. He's picked me Wild Oats by Veronica Henry. And it just looks like a real, I'll show you guys. It looks like a real sort of summery kind of, like Thomas was like, home isn't where the heart is, and it's flowers, and it's that whole, just going home, that whole homely kind of comfort feel. Because I've read a lot of harder hitting. With the reading, I've been like reading a lot of harder hitting books, and I've just found another contemporary that again is like sort of coastal homes. I'm really seeking for books in the coast because they're like my comfort place.
Yeah.
But like I've loved that I can go hard hitting, and I finally read Disability Visibility, and oh my god, it is one of the best books on disability I have actually read.
I'll have to check it out then. I've heard great things about it.
It's got, I think I rated it for like 4 or 4.5 because there were some stories I didn't necessarily connect to, but that's just me. But there were so many like bits of the community that you go, I feel seen here, and I feel seen here, and it's incredibly impactful. It really is amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out because I've only heard good things about that book. So
I finally read another Agatha Christie. Literally, I read it over 24 hours today. Literally.
Yep.
I read, and then there were none.
Isn't it fantastic?
5 stars. I was like, at the start, I was like, oh, it's really slow, and I'm not sure where this is gonna go. And I was like, oh, I don't know if it'll be as good as the other book, which I loved. And then I got into it, and I was like, I don't want to put this down.
Yeah,
I did not get the twist.
It builds and builds until you can't stop.
Yeah, you just can't put it down, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is so what I needed. Agatha Christie, and because obviously Agatha Christie works on Readathon because of her numerator.
Oh, I had written it down. It was where she can't read numbers. Like it was like dyslexia with numbers.
Yeah, dyslexia with numbers. Yeah. So that was like, oh my goodness, I was so grateful when Alice told me to read an Agatha, because I did not like John Milton's poetry. As a Christian, it killed me. It was like, no.
Yep.
My face just got too impacted, and I was like, nope. So that classic representation is bad, so I'm going to pick up something different.
Well, it's interesting. I know of one booktuber, they picked up Mansfield Park, and they've never read a Jane Austen before, ever. And they read it for our readathon.
Yeah.
And for Mansfield Park, I was like, this is really not like the first Jane Austen to read. Like, try another one like that, or like that's what would be my recommendation, try a different one first. And I was like, it's great, but it's not the first one you should pick up. And they loved it. Like they picked it up, loved it, flew through it, couldn't stop reading it. And I'm like, that is not the normal reaction to Mansfield Park.
Yeah, but you think, I'm now wondering now that I know about the disability rep a bit more in the Mansfield Park, whether I might get a higher thoughts of it. But it has, this readathon's kind of pushed people's boundaries, and it's got people reading different things and finding out. Like, I read Get Alive, Chloe Brown for the second time. Now, I know one of my booktubers, Jack, didn't like it because of the sex scenes. And if you don't like sex scenes,
I've read it. It was a little steamy.
Yeah, the steamy scenes were not, I kind of sped read those. But the chronic pain bit, it was literally like, now I know why I loved this the first time. And on a reread, I was like, I'm getting even more out of it because I was reading it when I was having the flare and I was like, oh my God, I love this. It's like, oh.
Yeah, nothing like making you feel seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, whenever there's a book like that, I'm just like, oh wait, that's so cool. Like even this morning I was reading a book and it was about, it's just like a silly romance one. But in it, it goes on about like this, there's a kid in there who's 16 and his body is a little disfigured because of being beaten when he was really little and being bullied and all these things. It's just like, just a little representation in there. It's like, that's so cool to see and not have it be like a big problem, you know?
Exactly. That's what you need. We need disability rep to be more of a case of that's going to help. And I've read, there's so many, I think I've had been watching people's videos about the TBRs, and I've watched more and more videos from this, and it's given me ideas about what sort of books I want to read again and more disability rep, because this was the whole reason we did this, was to get the rep out there and get people going, I want, to be understood.
Yeah. Well, I changed up my nonfiction to being a biography, or a great courses book series or whatever about, well, it's a lecture series about Jane Austen. Because I was like, I have 2 hours left of this. Let me just finish it off. And it was really fun. And I was just really like, I can finish off a book I'm currently reading. And it's about someone who had a disability.
Brilliant.
They think that she had Addison's disease. Or was it
she had something, didn't she? Yeah.
It's not been decided what she could have had. But she definitely had some sort of disability or autoimmune disease. So they couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, see, I think for me, probably my favourite book of the whole readathon has definitely been Katie's book. That's still going to go down as my favourite book.
Yeah.
Because the hearing representation was just spot on. I've said to Katie in one of her Q&As, I'm looking forward to hearing how she found out how to get that spot on. And you just need the rep out there, don't we?
Yeah. And one of the books I picked up, it was not for this readathon at all. And then I realized as I was reading it that a character was getting headaches or migraines, very severe headaches from essence, fragrances, oils that were in the air, things that she could smell.
Oh, wow.
And it was really interesting being okay, this is something if I smell someone smoking or someone using hand sanitizer on a bad day, I'm done. And it was just that was perfectly put on the page.
Yeah, that kind of thing's really good when you go, they've got it going on and stuff, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I'm definitely kind of giving me ideas about the kind of books I can look for, to now start to look for. And now Jane Austen July, I'm going to be thinking, right, I'm going to be dipping myself here because we know that we'll support Jane Austen and that, and hopefully see.
Oh yeah. Well, definitely pick up A Marriageable if you want to read for Jane Austen July. That one was really
find
good.
I've got so many books. I already know I'm reading Gomish and Park for Jane Austen July.
There's too many books out there.
Gomish and Park, my Jane Austen, that retelling is just on my list, and it's I cannot wait.
Well, Alice is here too.
Hi, Alice. Making dinner. Hello. Hi, Alice. Like I said, she's amazing. Alice has been amazing. She's just. Yeah. Did
you catch that Emily had read And Then There Were None?
And I loved And Then There Were None, Alice. That was her that got me reading it. She told me. She was like, I needed it. Because like I said, those girls are definitely. You guys have got me hooked on Agatha Christie.
She's good. I will always say that And Then There Were None is my favorite Agatha Christie, although there are many, many top five. Not five, top five. Many 5 stars, which are all perfection. But that's my favorite.
I must admit, I was I love Three Little Pigs, and I must admit now I'm thinking, the more I keep thinking of it, you know how you put it down and you go. So first I was is it 4? Is it 4.5? And it's it built up, and now it's in my head, and I'm going, wow, that twist, oh my god.
Yeah.
And Then There Were None I didn't even realize how much of a standalone it was and how good it was, because I'm collecting a lot of the Poirot books, because I love Poirot. I thought he was amazing in Three Little Pigs.
I love her independent books more.
Really? Oh,
the reason why I love her independent books is because you never know if you can trust the detective. Because with a Poirot book, you can trust Poirot, and a Marple book, you can trust Marple. But when it's an independent book, Why Didn't They Ask Evans, or The Seven Dials Mystery, or all of these books, like you might be able to trust the detective, but you can't know that until you're finished the story and discover the twist, because you can't tell their intentions on the first page.
That's like, that was the thing with and then there were none. It was like, I just did not get it. Like, I did not, the twist. Now I was like, I could not guess it. I could not get the killer. I just did not get it.
Yeah,
And
so
it
it's
was,
good.
I rated it as a classic, but
Oh,
oh
it's
my god,
classic.
it is classic. But it was just like, yeah, this is like, I've just read Verity by Colleen Hoover, which again has disability rep in it.
Hmm.
And that, I didn't even realize it had disability rep in it until afterwards. I was like, there's autism rep in it, and there's and it's like, oh my god. But that was a thriller, and I did not get the twist on that. And that was another one that just was like, what the heck? I did not.
I've never read a Colleen Hoover. I might need to try her eventually just to say I've done it. Just like Stephen King, I've never read, but I feel like I need to read at least one King book to say I've read him.
Knowing you, Verity would be your way to go, because it's a thriller mystery thingy, and it's psychological. It's not gory. There is a bit of sexy stuff in it, so you have to kind of ignore the sexy stuff. But yeah, it's psychological, and it really gets me thinking.
All right, well, let's quickly go over the last couple comments. So, Ange loved Katie's book too.
Oh, she can put it down. Brilliant.
Yeah. And Alice, yeah, that's a great one. One of your favorites? Yeah, my favorite.
Alice has good taste.
So I think we should probably do a reading sprint because we're both not doing stellar right now. So if we can do a reading sprint, then we can maybe, I was thinking 20 minutes, but what time is it now? Okay, so it's 16.
Yeah.
We could do one till 11. Well, that'd be for me 11:40, which would be just on the 40 mark. Does that work for everybody?
I think
like, doesn't have to be reading. It could be whatever you want.
Yeah, we could do that, and then what we'll do is we'll just wrap up, and then we'll talk about the fact that obviously we got next week's gonna be our last wrap-up-y live, and then that's gonna be yeah.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay, so if we read to the 40 mark, everyone's good with that. That should give us.
You can just
23 minutes.
Like, yeah. Just tell me when to take it off mute. Yes,
I will. All right, and Ange quickly says to read Misery. Okay, I'll put that on my list. I've heard that. Another one. What is it? Rose Matter is a really good one because it's mystery, not horror necessarily. But I'll possibly get Misery then instead. We'll see.
Misery film would scare the crap out of me. Sorry.
I know the storyline of it, so at least that's something. Okay, so we'll read until 11:40 or the 40 mark. I'm gonna make a banner, but you guys can start reading if you'd like.
Okay, I'm pressing off mute. Hello.
Hello. We'll just stop now.
Yeah, might as well.
So, did you get any reading done or just
Oh, I think I did. I
relaxing?
started hitting a headache at the end of it. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
gonna try and when I'm done, maybe go and have some more water or some more drink and just see if I can get my head in a kind of position for the rest of the evening.
Is it like your headache that's the problem right now for your head?
It's like just over my eyes. It's just all up here. Like really,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite tiring.
I sometimes will I use essential oils because that's the only thing that works for my headaches. And I'll wash my hair and then I'll run my hair, run a brush through my hair with like lavender on the brush. So it goes right in my scalp.
That's quite nice. I might try brushing my hair actually after this and see if that it's just over my eyes. It's just like right over, but it's also up because I've got a scar up there, and that seems to be right over that. So it's just good. I think Chris is asleep. I've still got to get Thomas to bed and then have a bit of time with Mia quietly.
Yeah.
And get her. She's got this thing at the moment where she likes me plaiting her hair, so that hurts my wrist a little bit. But it's very
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be okay. I'm kind of nearly halfway through this, so my plan for tomorrow is, because I'm working, I'm going to be reading my read-along pages for one of the tandem read-alongs, and then just going to contemporary binge until when I get to before work and after work. So just to be a bit gentle.
Yeah. Ange read 2 chapters of A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet.
Oh,
I've heard good things about that one.
Brilliant. Alice has just read it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yes, I am not a big sci-fi reader, but I have enjoyed what I've dipped my toes into. So I need to try more of that genre.
I don't like sci-fi, but I like that.
Yeah, I've heard it's an interesting one.
Definitely.
I was reading. It's like a really short nonfiction. It's like 40 pages. It's a really long title. But God, wouldn't I be more useful to you if I were healthy?
Sounds good.
Really long title. And this author, Esther Smith, every book that I read of her, she's made me tear up. I almost cried.
Crying is
just so fantastic. So, yeah.
Well, thanks to the Waffle Girls, on Monday I'm starting Elisa Jewell and the Night She Disappeared, so it's another thriller. I'm like my third.
Lisa Jewell isn't so thrilling. It's kind of low-key thriller.
Yeah, it's like a mystery thriller, so I don't mind, but I only read it during the day.
Yeah.
And I won't read it when I'm reading Verity. I didn't want to read the two, I don't like reading 2 thrillers.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to kind of read that.
Well, and got the FOMO. I know, FOMO with BookTube is so hard. Everything looks good. But for me, when everyone praises a book, then I get scared I'm going to hate it. So I have not picked up the other Bennett sister because I'm afraid I'm going to hate it when everyone else has loved it and raved about it. So it's actually a detriment to my reading a book.
Oh, I loved it.
That's the problem. Everyone loves it, so I'm scared I'm going to be the one who doesn't. And I know it's ridiculous, but that's just the way I work. I need to read 1-star reviews of it so I can actually have a good.
Yeah, it does put pressure on you.
Yeah,
I must admit, I'm liking the fact that in June I've got no readathons, and I'm just like,
I'm doing Ancients-a-thon, and that's super chill. Like, the ancient literature I'm picking is super chill. 1 second.
That's cool.
It's genuinely these 3 things.
Oh, that's cool.
These things, even. I have a graphic novel of Beowulf, and then, which I've been saving. Yeah. And then I have these 2 little Penguin classics. One is a nonfiction, and one's a play. Oh, this is the poetry thing. So those are my 3 things for the Ancients-a-thon.
So at least you're doing it, but you're not stressing. I've got Jane Austen in July, and I think, and then Vic Tye, but apart from that, I don't think I'm doing anything else. I'm literally keeping. I must admit, that's something I've enjoyed with this year. My channel's having a bit of a blah, 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 but I'm enjoying mood reading and not doing readathons and just keeping it really, really chilled.
Yeah, it's nice to not put so much pressure on, but I do find I'm a very a goal motivated reader. So having a readathon, even in a small way, can push me to reading some stuff that, maybe when I'm just like, oh, I can do nothing, but I could also just pick up very quickly a graphic novel and read that.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do less read-alongs next year as well. We were
Mm.
going to do like the one for the Northern Lights this year, me and Jem, and it's like we went, nah, we just got too much on. So we think we might do it next year.
Yeah. Alice is reading The Power. I've heard interesting things about that. I think that's what I've heard mixed reviews of.
Yeah, I think that might have been one I like DNF, but that's just me. I'm not into that whole sci-fi dystopic kind of. That's very dystopic.
I'm not a dystopian reader. When I was 14, I was forced to read The Handmaid's Tale, and it scarred me for life.
Yeah, that was just, oh my God. I read it twice, and the second time I read it, I was like, oh my God, that's too freaky, like now.
Well, I was 14. I was way too young to be reading The Handmaid's Tale.
God, yeah, like that is way too young.
Yeah, so I've only liked the Hunger Games for dystopian, and then one called The Marrow Thieves, which is a Canadian YA book about the Indigenous people who only are the people who, like, they're the only ones who can dream. And those are the only dystopian books I've ever liked.
The only ones I think I really liked were Noughts and Crosses series. The Noughts and Crosses series I loved.
Yeah.
I really loved that. That was like the whole series was just one of the best series I've ever read. It was amazing. And so if you don't count the whole like Northern Lights series, then that's about all I've kind of liked. And I've read like Eve of Man. Like I remember I bought Eve of Man, and I bought the first one paperback, got the second one Eve of Illusion hardback, and I'm now regretting it because I don't even know if I think I want to read either of them, even though I paid. I hate this when I buy some books hardbacks. You're like, why did I pay so much? And now I don't even want to read it again.
Oh, I just have a problem where I rebuy books. Like, I'll be like, oh, I don't own that copy. And I was going through my bookshelves, reorganizing them. And I literally found 2 copies of the same ancient plays written by or edited by the same person.
Oh my God.
It was not just the same plays edited by different people. It was the same person. It was the exact same copy twice. And then just when I was in Vancouver last weekend, I came across, and I'm like, oh, I'll grab this book. I don't own this one in the series. I came home and I have it on my shelves. Yeah, I'm horrible at rebuying the same book I already own, and in the same edition typically too.
Oh no, I've done that a couple of times in different editions, but I have a habit of buying like some books I buy. I went through a stage where I was buying books before I even like read the back of them, and I was buying them hardback, and then I bought a few, and I've got, oh my God, like Ange hates me because we both love Shoggy Bane, but then Young Mungo I bought a hardback, and it's so hard hitting that I don't even know if I can read it again. And like I bought the Betrayals by Bridget Collins because I'd loved the binding, but the Betrayals I hated. It was like, and I paid so much money and I didn't even like it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's hard when there are books that you own and you're like, but I don't want to get rid of it. But then I own Middlemarch. I'm never gonna reread it. I should just get rid of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got Middlemarch. We read it together. And I don't think I want to reread it.
No, I read it with Victoria. I didn't.
And I read it with Tori. I read it with Tori, actually.
So we both read it with different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hated that one. I've just got rid of my copy of Villette because I hated Villette by Charlotte Bronte. So I just got rid of that one.
I must admit, I didn't like them, and I rebought them because I want the whole of them, and I'm rereading all the Bronte books next year to see if, now that I've read more classics, I will like them. But like, I'm doing this whole Dickens project, and the girls are laughing at me because I can't seem to get on with classics. I've read so many Hardy this month. Not at all.
Well, I know I'm reading Bleak House this summer with my summer read along, our big classic one. And I'm like hoping that's going to be good.
See, Alice loved it. I didn't, but I think it was because it was such a big book and I tried to read it in a month. And
we're reading it over like 10 weeks.
Yeah, I just think I tried to read it too soon, and it was just, I don't, like, Alice was saying about bits of the book, and I went, I don't remember that. And I think that was just because I'm having a real, like, I've got all the Dickens books and I'm determined to keep going, and I liked Barnaby Rudge, but I like Nicholas Nickleby, but I'm not liking Barnaby Rudge, and it's like, oh, the other way around. Like,
well, at least you have some other books to pick up that are hopefully a bit more entertaining.
Yes, I'm definitely having a classics flop, so I'm hoping this goes by the time it's Booktober again.
Well, then take a break. Don't read a classic for July, or not July, for June, and then you'll have hopefully some.
June, I think I'm taking. No, June. What have I got on my June? I've got 2 classics we're doing. I've got Howard's End, which I'm buddy reading, and The Old Curiosity Shop by Dickens, but that's being read over 2 months, so that should be better. I'm not trying to.
I'd say if you're gonna read any other classics, like read modern classics during that time.
Yeah, Howard's End.
Give yourself a break.
Did you have you read Howard's End? I can't remember.
No, I haven't.
Someone's read it.
Yeah, maybe it'll be on my list to read eventually. I have enough authors I'm trying now, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've just got to be easy. I'm just like, I'm gonna crush, but I've got to film. I've got filming. I'm gonna try and film extra bulk film this week because it's half term the week after, and I don't like filming when the kids are around because it's always a flipping disaster.
Yes. Well, I feel very proud of myself. I finally edited and uploaded my winter wrap up.
I watched it. I didn't comment. Sorry.
Finally, it's like literally been. I refilmed it twice, and I finally edited it 2 months later.
I have watched it, but I didn't comment on it. I didn't comment on it, but I did watch it.
Like, finally, I get it up. Oh my word, that was like an accomplishment.
But sometimes that's the thing with what we're going through is that sometimes these little things are an accomplishment. And we've just got to like I filmed a video on Tuesday, and I was supposed to be doing the feel good books because of our readathon and books to cheer with, and I couldn't think of like what books I wanted to do, so I ended up doing a book tour. So you'll see that on Friday, or was it Monday? Yeah, you see it on Monday. And I just filmed a book tour, and it was like I counted my unread books and my read books and did all that, and I'm hoping it goes well. Alice helped me on that because it was like I just couldn't think what to film, and I wanted something that I managed to kill my wrist while I was filming it, but it was like fun to do, you know?
Yep, for sure. Let's just quickly go over the few comments because I think I'm gonna need to head off soon. My eyes are starting to hurt from this.
Put Thomas to bed.
So Ange D enough the power.
Yep, I did. I think I did.
Yeah, and she's reading Jude the Obscure, which I'm never gonna read. It's too depressing. I already know that.
Depressing. It's so depressing.
And Alice said that she enjoyed Bleak House, but it was not her favorite.
No.
Yeah, I feel like Dickens is someone who I'm always worked up about. Like I always feel like, oh, he's gonna, be so sad and so hard, and I realize, oh, it's a very complex world, but I have to be in the right headspace to get into him. So I'm hoping it's good for the summer.
Dickens has been hit and miss. David Copperfield was one of my favourite books in the world. Great Expectations, I absolutely loved.
I love Great Expectations. I haven't read David Copperfield. It's too big and too daunting.
But they're both amazing. But then the others have just been a bit. Yeah. But
I know.
Well, so we're gonna do our live next week.
Yep.
On
your channel.
Yep. And then that we'll do like a celebration. But we'll keep it real. It'll be an hour to an hour and a half max. We'll see how we both are. I think that's the thing. I'm going to make the thumbnail up tonight and schedule it because I can't schedule on the days when I'm filming other videos because it just doesn't work.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'll do that later. But thank you everyone for joining.
Yes, thank you everyone for coming. I know we have a small group, but that's all good. Hopefully we can all read some more good books this week and take care of ourselves. Yeah, exactly. With all of the reading. Well, we will see you next week then.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.